Hello and welcome to the talk. I am Danish Manzoor, and in the world of mobile journalism, today's the talk is going to be a little different from the routine talks you see. You see a three-camera setup, and today what we have is just a mobile phone. And I have with me the German ambassador to India, Mr. Walter Lindner. Let's talk about Germany today. Let's talk about the Indo-German relationships today. Most of you are already aware about a lot of it, but what's going on in the present, in when the Modi 2.0 is already in session, and a lot is being spoken about the foreign policy of the government of India at this juncture. Let's talk about what Germany has in store for India in the days to come. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for being on your phone.
Oh, my pleasure entirely, as is the phones. I see that you speak quite a bit of Hindi.
Well, in public, I'm still a bit shy of that because I don't want to be a laughing stock. But give me a few more weeks. Well, my teacher would say weeks, I would say month.
You will master it.
No, master, come on. At least I will try to say something useful, even in conversations, not beyond the weather and something. So give me a few more weeks' time and then I will.
How about you say hello to India in Hindi?
Namaskar. Aapse milkul khushi hui.
That's splendid. I mean, if you ask me anything in German, I would be just blank. I'll just look at your face.
Well,
I'll have nothing to say.
Really?
To be very honest. Yeah.
Prost at least.
So I think, yeah, prost. So now let's talk about a bit about the Indo-German relationship at this point of time. So where do you see it going with the new government already in place? What is it that Germany is looking at India at this point in time, and what are the plans?
Well, the good thing is the new government is the old government. And in Germany, there's no new government and there's Merkel. So Merkel and Modi, they get along very well, be it in the Modi 1 or Modi 2. So this is really helpful because the two know each other and the two like each other. The chemistry somehow is a very good one. So I've been there twice or three times personally when they met in a dinner and other meetings, and it clicks. This is helpful. So we can build on what has been there already until now. When they talked on the phone before the swearing in, she was calling for the wishing well for the new time. There they talked already, and in Osaka.
Right.
And in Osaka, they already built up on what they were doing before. So she asked the Prime Minister, what are your targets for the next 3, 4, 5 years? And then where can we help you and where can we do things together? Internationally, they are already on the same wavelengths because we are both in strong favor of reforming the Security Council.
Right.
We are in a G4 group, which is since years working on that. Then we are both in favor of rule-based international structures. So no country, even as big as India or China, or the US, can solve things by themselves. So we need other countries. We need kind of friends internationally which have the same kind of values, and we do have many values together, similar with India. So this is already something. Now, of course, I know we are very famous for being good in international modesty and in bringing things to the point,
Right.
and having some ratio in the international relations.
Right.
We are also on the same wavelength when it comes to the need of technology. The future of work is something very important, which is dear to the heart of both prime ministers. What will be the future like for the job seekers when you have all these computers and robots and artificial intelligence? What do we do there? And he's very interested to see our answers to that. And since we have quite some technology, and you have in Bangalore a lot of this technology, we can do a lot of things to cooperate. We already have our car producers here who produce all the electronics and these kind of things with computer chips in Bangalore and other places. So there's a lot of common interest where we can still improve and build up on the already very good relations.
In terms of business, especially the Indian startups and Indian companies, What is it that you think that Germany could offer to them in the days to come?
Well, as I said, mostly it's technology, engineer, science, and we are good in startups as well. And we are the biggest country, the economics strongest country in Europe. So if you ask someone where are the startups in Europe, they are mostly in Berlin. They are also in Israel, and they're in Berlin, and then they are also in Bangalore, and they are in Sydney, and they are in California, and in some parts of China. But this startup culture is something very strong in Berlin. People can make failures, and a second failure, and a third failure, and a fourth try is a good one. And this
eventually a success.
Is a success. So this is a kind of spirit which I guess both youth in both countries need. So we are looking forward to work close together, have people with us, and then also people from us coming down here and see what can be done there. There are conferences and meetings where people talk about exactly this coming up in the next few months in Germany and also here, and I will attend most of them and see what we can do there.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, we'll talk a bit more about the diplomatic challenges which the world faces at this point of time, be it in the US or changing dynamics with China at this point of time. So what do you think are going to be bigger challenges for you being in India with regards to diplomacy?
Well, I think if you look back before the Cold War finished, then things were just sort of simple. There was the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. Now, since 89, since the wall came down, we first had 10, 15 years of some kind of rosy idea that this history came to an end. That in the future it's all common interests, and we fight against terrorists everywhere and against poverty. So we have a kind of a multinational consensus. And then the last 10 years things were getting more complicated. There's one international institution which is the only one which is really international, which is the United Nations. Not all member states are in favor of strengthening it. We want to strengthen it because it's the only one. If we don't have the UN, we would have to invent it. We need regional cooperation, like in the European Union, but also you in Asia, to have some common interests which are not just focused on one country, but on the whole region. These challenges that we have in the future, where's the role of China, where's the role of Russia, where's the role of India, and then the African role, and then the Arab role. I get the feeling at the moment things are shaking up. Nobody really knows where the whole train is going.
Right.
And in this world of orientation, of need for orientation, you need some strong leaders which could show some direction.
Right. So speaking of terrorism, it's become a global challenge at this point of time, right? It's no more a phenomenon which is limited to a particular country. It's just everywhere. So how do India and Germany work together in trying to address this situation?
They already work together very closely in places like Interpol, like the international police associations, secret services are working very close together. This is a bad which has to be eradicated from this world. Now, how to do this when you have fanatism there, religious fanatism, but also ideological fanatism? This is a challenge for all of us. We all will lose if we don't act swiftly and harshly on terrorists, because terrorists, if you have some, if you don't look at a terrorism in one corner of the world, it can spread over to other places. And if you fight it on one end, then it evades from there and comes to another part of the world. So it's a global phenomenon. It's not even the countries in the Pacific Ocean are spared out of it, or the Maldives, or wherever. It could happen everywhere. So that's why all of us have to have an interest to work close together. So as it is the nature of this cooperation, it's not something you do with the megaphone, but you do it in friendly and in close cooperation with your friends and your allies, and India is our ally.
And quietly, discreetly, and decisively.
Yes.
Right. Now, talking of the cultural relations between India and Germany, We've seen that Germany has done quite a bit in India, but any new plans for the days to come?
Well, you see, before I came here 3 months ago, I didn't have too much in-depth knowledge of Indian culture. I did, of course, 40 years ago when I was traveling here. But since all the time I had to deal with so many issues in the world. But I realized when I came here how deep running this is. Already 200-300 years ago, there were German linguists, scientists who came over here and who wrote down the a lexicon for Kannada language, for example, and they were interested in Hindi. So we have like, I think, 10 or more professors in Germany who are super experts on Hindi, and Hindu as culture, 7,000 years old. So I think we do a lot in helping conserve and restore artifacts here. We do it in the south, but we do it also in Kashmir. I was just a few weeks ago, I was in Srinagar, and I saw that in the middle of the Lake Dal, there's a bridge, an old bridge which they call the camelback bridge, because it looks like a camel. And it was crumbling down and almost destroyed. And if you go there now, you see a rebuilt camel bridge. These kind of things. Or there's a black pagoda in the Shalimar garden. And we restored it as well. So we do things in Ladakh, and we do things in Delhi and in the south. So I think to help you preserve things for the future. But then we have language, of course, and then we have exchange programs of our scientists. So I think it's such a variety of aspects which comprises our relationship. We would need a 2-hour interview.
I know. I mean, what you spoke about Kashmir, the camelback bridge and stuff. I was born there. Trust me. Even I am not aware of this. So you clearly know even Kashmir better than I do. So there you go.
I'll send you a picture.
Please, you must. And no, speaking of your personal, when you travel within India, where all have you went so far, and what is it that you really liked?
Well, I love traveling. You know, this is in my blood. I arrived 3 months ago and already went to Calcutta, Chennai, and then Rishikesh, Dehradun, the Taj Mahal, of course, then Jaipur, Udaipur.
I'm already envious of these guys, so envy right now.
Well, I love traveling, so and I try either to combine it with a professional thing here, or I just take off on Friday and close my office, and I'm gone for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back on Sunday evening because I have to. And I started 42 years ago my travels in India, and at that time I spent more than half a year in India, traveling also from north to south, and this left me thirsty for more.
It does. I mean, it's a huge country, and I always say India is not one country; it's like 29 countries. And
it's a continent.
It's a continent, right?
Yeah.
So now,
you see, if you have Africa has 52 countries, and it's the same size as India, and it's 52 countries with the independent countries, and you have DRC and so big countries. India is comprising all of this.
Exactly. I see, being the German ambassador, one would expect that you would commute using a BMW or a Mercedes, and we see you in your red Ambi. It's like the quintessential red Ambi now, sort of. Everybody, whenever somebody talks about the Ambi, it's you.
Yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
It's the coolest car on earth. A simple answer. It's just so cool. I don't know. It was made, of course, in India. But I don't know if it would have been made in North Korea. I would still like it because it's just so wonderful. And you did a great job, 58, back in 58. And the idea came, I saw it, and I said, wow. Because if you grow up in Germany and you're the German ambassador, I've been ambassador in many countries, you always have these big country, arm-proof cars, BMW, Audi, Mercedes. They are wonderful cars, don't get me wrong.
Oh.
They are world-class cars, but it's more like a spaceship. And this MB has a personality.
It's more connected.
It's connected. It almost talks to you. It has a personality. If it's raining, I think, my gosh, I hope it feels well. And it has developed in it. It has grown among the Indians as well.
It's a household car.
They cheer us at the streets, and it's not my car anymore. It's a car of all the Diliwalas, I guess.
So how do you deal with all these people trying to click the pictures of the car and then trying to sort of, I mean, you go to Old Delhi, you'll literally be mobbed over there.
Yeah. Well, we have a strict rule. We have like 10 baby ambies, and we give them away for clicking the car. But after the 10th, I'm sorry. But I mean, if someone comes up and wants to be clicked with the car, I do it if I have time. Even ministers, by the way, do that.
Yeah, I mean, I am tempted. So those of you who
You might think about it.
Yes, those of you who haven't seen the car, at the end of this episode, we're going to post some pictures of the car. Perhaps we'll just pose along with the car and then post those pictures over here.
If MB is in the right mood, you never know.
If she's in the right mood, of course. We'll see.
See.
We'll see about that. If we are lucky enough, right? Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being on the show. It was such a pleasure having you over
Thank
here.
you very much.
Right, so that was all for today, and we'll see you again next week with another guest. Till then, do take good care of yourselves and do not forget to click the picture with the ambi whenever you see the car on the roads of Delhi. If you're in Delhi, otherwise just look at the picture we're just going to post after this episode. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.